Hi, hope you're having a nice lunch. We chat every day at lunch, at least I hope you do, and I look forward to doing it with you at noon Eastern Time. Go on to the website and check back videos if you haven't been watching them. Today I want to talk to you about this amazing charade, this amazing myth that Barack Obama has inflicted on the world, the entire world, through the docile cooperation of the media. He has succeeded in convincing the markets, the ratings agencies, the top economists, the editorial boards, that Armageddon, catastrophe, disaster will take place if the United States defaults on its debt. Now, of course, he's right. If we defaulted on our debt, that would be an accurate description. But there is no way the United States is going to default on its debt. There's no way we're going to miss 5 minutes of payments. And Obama knows that. 60% of the money that we spend from the federal government comes from tax revenue, 40% from debt. So in a typical month, you'll have basically about $300 billion that the government's going to spend, and about 180, 190 of it is from taxes, and 110 and 120 of it is borrowed. Now, if they don't increase the debt limit, the 110, 120 that's borrowed can't be borrowed, but you still have the 180 or 190 that walks in the door through tax revenues. And debt service is about $20 to $30 billion a month. And Social Security is about $60 billion a month. Military pay is about $20 billion a month. You're not talking here about gigantic sums of money relative to the tax collections. The tax collections are more than enough to pay all of the really important expenses. Then not enough to pay all the expenses. So Amtrak won't get paid, and the Interior Department won't get paid, and the EPA is going to have to close for a couple of days or weeks, and the FDA and the FTC and the HUD and all the alphabet soup agencies. Those kind of normal bureaucratic agencies are not going to have money because they're not as essential as the 60% we want to protect that gets paid for by tax revenues. But when Obama says on television, I can't guarantee that Social Security checks will go out, or disability checks, he's just wrong. We're going to pay blind people. We're going to pay old people. We're going to pay our military. We may not pay the last bureaucrat in the Interior Department. That's what's at stake. And Obama, instead of going out there and saying, protect the government bureaucracy, he's saying Armageddon will take place. Social Security won't go out. We'll default on our debt as a way of scaring people. Now, that's okay in a political context. He's being rhetorical. He's bolstering his position. But it's really spooking the markets. It's really causing people not to invest. It's causing people not to create jobs. Soon it will cause the ratings agencies to downgrade the United States debt, which will cause interest rates to rise. And there is never the slightest, remotest possibility of a default or of any major expenditures that are critically important not being done, by definition. So I wish he'd knock it off. And what the House should do to counter this is they should pass 2 bills right away. The first says, this is the priority we want of the use of tax money as it comes into the Treasury. Number 1, default, so pay the debt service. Number 2, pay military families. Number 3, pay Social Security, and so forth. And then it should pass another bill that says that if by some chance in any given day there isn't enough tax money kicking around to pay the debt service, the Treasury Secretary can borrow up to $200 billion if all of it's used for debt service and if there's no other source of the money. That would totally cut the ground out from under Obama. Checkmate. Because at that point, he's got to get up there and tell the truth, which is the stakes in acceding to the Republican demands to cut spending and cut the deficit without additional taxes are not that the U.S. defaults or that old people starve to death or anything like that. It's that a bunch of bureaucrats are going to have to wait a couple of weeks to get paid. And that's okay. I mean, that's something that I think we need to go through. The point is that we have got to cut this government spending. It's essential to our recovery. It's essential to our free enterprise system. And the only way to do that is to make a liberal Democrat like Obama cut the spending by threatening not to raise the debt limit. But to scare the country into thinking all this is at stake when it isn't is just plain irresponsible, and frankly, it's infuriating. So that's why I'm mad about it, and it's why I wanted to talk to you about it over lunch today. So have a nice lunch. I'll see you tomorrow.